Firstly, I would like to introduce Mr. Vijay Balakrishnan. Mr. Vijay Balakrishnan, known as Baji in school, was part of the 1970 ISC batch. He studied in this very institution during the period of Mr. Fox and Dr. Samuel Raj when they were principals. He moved to the United States 46 years back and settled there. He is an engineering graduate and did his bachelor's and master's degree in electrical engineer from Illinois. He has taken part in the US space program. He not only confined himself to engineering, but has completed MBA from Wharton School. He is a consultant for various companies. Mr. Vijay is married to Usha, who is an occupational therapist, and they are blessed with two daughters, Lalita and Maliga. With these few introductory words, may I now request Mr. Vijay Balakrishnan to address the gathering. Over to Mr. Vijay.
Thank you, Mr. Barnabas, for those words of introduction. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. I am absolutely delighted to be here today to share a few thoughts with you. I'd also like to welcome those who've come here from both near and afar. I remember clearly being here 5 years ago at the last reunion, when I imagine many of you who are here now were probably over there back then. I left Breeks in 1970. That was 46 years ago. And that was clearly before any of you children were born. And it is quite likely it was before some of your parents were born and perhaps some of your teachers as well. And I dare say it was before one or two of my alumni friends were born as well. So that makes me an old man, right? But you know what? We're related. You boys and girls are actually my little brothers and sisters. So you're probably thinking, well, you know, it must be this thin mountain air with low oxygen levels. This old man has lost his mind. How could he possibly be my brother if he left Breeks even before my parents were born? Well, the point is, we share a common mother. We all have a mother that bore us, and another one that played a huge role in making us what we are today. And that grand old lady is standing behind you right now. She was stern at times, but always caring, always nurturing, and she taught us many things. So I thought what I'd do today is to share some of the lessons, some of the teachings that I received from our common mother, Breeks. And I am going to put them in terms of freedoms. And there are 6 freedoms that I want to share with you. The first is the freedom to learn. You know, you're here at school not just to write exams and pass tests. You're actually here to learn. In fact, you're here to learn how to learn. Now, I'm sure you're proud of your test results. I'm sure the school is proud of its test results. Exams are important. You need to write them. You need to pass them. But don't just memorize things for the sake of passing tests. Learn to understand the why behind something. And I promise you, once you understand why, you will never forget something as long as you live. So, ask questions. Ask lots of questions of your fellow students and of your teachers. And if you don't understand the answer, ask the question again. No good teacher should get angry or lose patience if a student asks questions. Now, you children are blessed with something that we didn't have when we were growing up, and that's the internet. If you don't like any of the answers from your fellow students or your teachers, just type in your question or your doubt into Google, and you will get a gazillion explanations in 1 second. Now, I have a recommendation for you and your teachers, and you probably know all about this, you're probably way ahead of me. But there is a fabulous website. It's called Khan Academy, K-H-A-N Academy, all one word, khanacademy.com. It is a fantastic website. It covers a wide range of subjects, all explained in a very easy way. And my wife and I have 2 children, as Mr. Barnabas indicated, and when my girls were going through school, they loved this website, and I'm sure you will as well. So remember that first freedom, the freedom to learn. The next one is the freedom to explore. You know, when we were growing up, the world was made up of 2 kinds of people. There were engineers and there were doctors. Now, these days you could add one more, which is business. Nobody else existed outside those 2 categories. But you know, there is a world outside science and business. There's an entire universe out there. Don't let anybody tell you that science is superior to art. As a matter of fact, when you explore, you will actually find that there's a fair amount of mathematics in art and incredible beauty in science. Now, when you finish school and college and you start working, you may choose to pursue a career in IT or engineering or medicine or business. There's nothing wrong with that. Please do, please go ahead. Lots of luck. But don't ignore everything else. I promise you, it'll open whole new worlds to you and give you a lifetime of joy. But there is also a practical reason for the exploration. You know, life is all about interacting with people. And it's always easier to interact with somebody if you talk to them about a subject that they are interested in. So the more you know, the easier it is to interact with people. Train yourself from now to be able to have a conversation with a doorman or a philosopher with the equal ease. Try this. The next time you meet somebody for the first time, in 5 minutes or less, try to find out what they're interested in. And keep in mind that what they're interested in may not be the same thing as what they do. And even if you don't know much about that subject, ask them a question or 2 and get them talking about that subject, and you will be amazed at how easy it is to connect with that individual. The third freedom is the freedom to play. You know, school is not just about classrooms and textbooks. It is also about sports and games. Not only is the exercise good for your body and your mind, you will learn lessons that you will not learn in the class. And 3 lessons I want to share with you. 1, being part of a team. Now, when you finish school and college and start working, you will find that it's all about teamwork. And most importantly, it's not that much about you. It is like, for example, in football. It is not that important that you take the ball by yourself all the way to the other side and score a goal. What is more important is that you pass the ball and confuse the opposition and overcome their defense. Now, if you have watched any of the games, Olympic matches in football or hockey, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. Or in netball, it's not the spike that is important as much as the setup before it that helps the team win. So, being part of a team to help the team win, that's an important lesson. Second, learning to take failure and success in your stride. You know, life is a lot like sports. You will win some things, you will lose others. And you need to learn how to win with grace and not get shattered by defeat. And it is also very important for you to figure out why you lost and why you won. You know, it's interesting. People will analyze to the death, to the last detail, why they lost. But very few people will figure out why they won. They take it for granted. So remember this. Figure out why you lost, but remember to figure out why you won. The next lesson is leadership, learning how to lead. Now, leadership is not about you doing everything. It is actually about getting your team members to do things that even they didn't think they could do. Getting your team members to go above and beyond through motivation and encouragement and example, and winning their respect so that they will follow you to the ends of the earth. Now, those are lessons you will not learn in the classroom, but you will on the games field. The next freedom is the freedom to fail. Now, don't go home and say, look, this man showed up at school and said it's okay for me to fail my exams. No, that's not what I'm talking about. This is actually going to be more important when you start working. Now, you can pursue a safe path where everything is assured, or you can take a calculated risk. Now, what does that mean? Today's India is different. There are startup companies everywhere pursuing new and different and exciting things. Now, you may want to consider joining one of those companies, or perhaps someday some of you may even start one of those companies. Now, and before you do that, analyze the companies and study the industry so that you know exactly what you're getting into. I'm not asking you to be reckless. I am asking you to consider taking a calculated risk. And even if that risk doesn't turn out exactly the way you thought it might, when you're young, you have the time to bounce back and try something else. Now, you know, in the United States, in Silicon Valley, which is the home of innovation in new products, it is not considered a bad thing if you've been part of a startup or two that failed, because it's that failure that spurs new and different thinking. Now, I know India is not Silicon Valley, at least not yet. But by the time some of you grow up, it might very well be. Now, the next thing I'm going to talk about is important, and it's really the most important freedom I want to talk to you about today. And it is the freedom to care. Now, what does that mean? Well, the world is not just made up of you and your family. There are people of so many different backgrounds and beliefs all around you. You share this beautiful planet with millions of living creatures. So I'm asking you to do everything with compassion. Now, I know compassion is a big word and you're wondering, what is this man talking about? It's really very simple. It means make sure that your actions always help and never hurt someone or something. Now, I'll let you think about that for a second. And I'll repeat it. Make sure that your actions always help and never hurt someone or something. So before you do anything, ask yourself, this thing I'm about to do, does it help or does it hurt someone or something other than me? And I'm not talking about something extremely complicated. It could be you're sharing what you have and what you can afford with someone a lot less fortunate than you. Or it could even be something as simple as stopping before you throw a sweet wrapper or a piece of paper or a bottle on the street or on the school grounds, because that certainly does not help and it hurts this paradise of the Nilgiris that you have the privilege to call home. And the last one is critical. It is the freedom to be. You can be whatever you want to be if you're willing to work hard enough for it. Now, I want to say this especially to the girls. Don't let anyone stop you from going after your dreams because you're a girl. You know, the astronaut who holds the record for the maximum number of spacewalks is Sunita Williams. She's of Indian descent. She was a girl, Indian girl, just like you. The Indian Air Force just announced its first 4 women fighter pilots. The CEOs of some of the leading banks in India are women. There are writers and musicians. Yes, musicians. There are many female musicians who are playing instruments which are traditionally male, like the drums and the tabla. Go on YouTube and check out some of the women tabla players. They're fabulous. So you have the freedom to be whatever you want to be. And to the boys, I want to say this as well. Never ever say, you cannot do this or you cannot do that because you're just a girl. Always give women and girls the respect they deserve because they are just as good as you. And to both boys and girls, pursue your dreams, whatever they are. It doesn't matter what your mother tongue is, or what community you come from, or what religion you follow. You have the privilege of living in a free country. You have the same rights as everybody else. And when you look at someone, look at that person as a fellow citizen of the world, not as someone from a language group or a community, or someone who follows a particular religion. Now, that is something that we learned here at Breeks. It may not be always easy for you to pursue your dreams. There may be obstacles in your path. There may be failures. But never lose sight of that goal. Always keep it in sight and don't get distracted. And you know, these house flags flying here reminded me of something I said 5 years ago, and it's worth repeating. I was part of Willie House, and that Willie House flag over there has a motto on it, and it's Perseverando Vindicamus, and that's in Latin. And what that means is through perseverance we conquer. Through never giving up, we conquer. That is a valuable lesson that I learned from our mother, Breeks. You know, the school has produced some fabulous people, amazing people, outstanding leaders in the armed forces, one of whom you will have the privilege of hearing from on Monday. Entrepreneurs, businessmen who built companies out of nothing and made them leading companies. Professors, academics who are experts in their fields in some of the best universities on the planet. Talented doctors, skilled lawyers, sharp accountants, and writers and singers. And in a few years, that could be you. Now, there may be some who would say, well, the Breeks students of those days were different and they were better and so on. I completely disagree. In fact, I actually think you children are more gifted because you have the world's knowledge at your fingertips. Just a couple of mouse clicks and keystrokes away. But it will take that hard work and focus and never giving up. And you're remembering the 6 freedoms that I shared with you today. The freedom to learn, the freedom to explore, the freedom to play, the freedom to fail, the freedom to care, and the freedom to be whatever you want to be. Good luck, God bless, and ad rem.
Thank you very much, Vijay, for your very inspiring speech.